started listening to Joe Rogan's podcast as a way to make my meal preparation a little bit more tolerable. A few years back, I was making a breakfast shake, listening to the podcast, when I heard Joe's guest say that
kale shakes could turn you autistic. Is that what you just said?
Here's the thing about raw kale. It's full of oxalic acid, which is what makes kidney stones. Oxalic acid also is tied to vulvodynia, which is painful sex. It turns out that this is the way that the plant protects itself. So
From being eaten?
yeah. So basically, if you're kale, you don't want to get eaten by snails and bugs, and you're a nice soft green plant. So you put this stuff in you. Most starch sources and a lot of like soft green vegetables have a defense mechanism. There's also a group of people looking into oxalic acid as one of the contributors to autism.
You should never eat raw kale then.
And raw spinach is just as bad.
And that became the last straw for my interest in nutrition. The only thing that I could ever find that all nutritional experts seemed to agree on was that vegetables were good for you. And if I can't even rely on this being true, then I think it was time for me to move on to other interests. For the next 3 years, I just ignored this information about vegetables, and my diet really didn't change much until I listened to Joe's most recent podcast with Dr. Jordan Peterson. Jordan claimed that he cured a whole host of health issues by getting his diet down to nothing but beef.
I lost 50 pounds. My appetite's probably fallen by 70%. I don't get blood sugar dysregulation problems. I need way less sleep. I get up in the morning and I'm fine. I'm not anxious. I'm not depressed. I don't have psoriasis. My legs were numb on the sides. That's gone. And my gum disease is gone.
His experience completely contradicted my knowledge that vegetables were good for you and red meat was bad for you. But it also reminded me of this podcast that I completely forgot about from 3 years ago, where the guest also mentioned that vegetables could be bad for you. If his claims are true, then it would completely shatter my knowledge of nutrition, which has influenced my diet for the past 3 years. So I had to look into this a little bit more, and I found out that there are a ton of people out there who are claiming to receive tremendous benefits from eating nothing but meat. And after trying a carnivore diet myself, it's impossible to deny that I didn't get significant benefits from it. But even after quitting the carnivore diet, I still thought that the problem couldn't have been with vegetables themselves. I figured I must have got these benefits because I eliminated some foods that were causing me some problems.
You have a hypothesis, and it's like, okay, your hypothesis is all plants are bad. But what about all the other things that are potentially happening while you're doing this diet?
And
you're eating less, you're fasting more, your microbiome's changing, like dramatically changing.
Or because I just received the placebo effect from believing Jordan's claims and trusting him too much.
People think they're going to get a positive response from something. They can.
But after hearing what Jordan's daughter Michaela said after she reintroduced greens into her diet.
So I reintroduced salad again. It was literally lettuce, apple cider vinegar, olive oil, and salt and pepper. That's what I reintroduced. And I woke up the next day and the itch was back and my joints were stiff.
And after having less profound benefits myself on a keto diet, I wondered if maybe there really is a problem with vegetables themselves. I spent a lot of time researching nutrition, and I thought that there were foods like kale and acai that were superfoods. They would give you some benefit that you couldn't get from anywhere else. But after looking more into this carnivore diet, I found a book by Dr. Stephen R. Gundry called The Plant Paradox. And he claims that what you eat isn't nearly as important as what you don't eat.
That is to say, getting rid of harmful foods will have a more powerful outcome for your well-being than adding good ones.
This means that even if a food is high in vitamins and minerals and micronutrients and antioxidants, if it also has a high content of anti-nutrients, then the cost of eating it would outweigh its benefits. In Joe's interview with Michaela, he asks,
Do you think there's an issue eating vegetables?
I think it really depends on the person.
it's pretty clear that there are plants that are bad for everyone. If you don't believe me, then just try eating some poison ivy. And it's also pretty clear that there are some plants that are bad for some people. There are people who, if they eat a peanut, they're going to die, whereas if I eat a peanut, nothing really seems to happen. But just because I'm not dying doesn't mean that it's not toxic in some way. And there is a compelling evolutionary reason why this would be true. Prey animals evolved characteristics to help them avoid predators. Gazelles use their speed, giraffes their height, zebras their camouflage against the herd, all so that they can avoid being killed by a lion. Like animals, most plants don't want to be consumed. But since they can't move, they had to develop their own defense mechanisms to prevent predators from eating them.
A crucial weapon in their arsenal is a family of plant proteins called lectins, which exist in the leaves, seeds, skins, and grains of most plants. When lectins are consumed, they bind to sugar molecules in the animal's brain and nerve endings, inhibiting the predator's cells and nerves from communicating properly.
This lack of communication results in a brain fog, which causes us to lose concentration, focus, memory, and this would explain why Dr. Peterson said that he got such great cognitive benefits from the diet.
I'm certainly intellectually at my best at the moment.
And it also explains why I lost 6.5 pounds over just 3 weeks when eating nothing but meat. Because, according to Dr. Gundry,
Unfortunately for humans, some lectins not only stimulate mental confusion, but also cause you to gain weight.
this also explains why people who are hypersensitive to these lectins can cure diseases by eliminating plants from their diet. But are all vegetables just as harmful as others? And if so, why did our ancestors ever start to eat them to begin with? I'm going to cover this more in part 2, so subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to be notified when this video's up. In the meantime, stay tuned to find out what happens to my body composition, my strength, my blood markers, my productivity when I reintroduce vegetables and higher carbs during a flexible diet. That's it for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.